I'm Adam Walker. I'm a structural engineer for Structex, a structural engineering consulting business, and I'm the managing director for the operations in Littleton, Napier and Marlborough. So Structex was founded in 2003 by Jeff Banks and Will Lomax, with a real focus on producing quality documentation and client service. And off the back of that industrial work, we got into the wine industry. Fast forward a few years and we had the Christchurch earthquakes, so the team were obviously pretty heavily involved with that. But then also we've had earthquakes that have affected the wine industry, with the earthquakes in 2013 and 2016. There was some typical kinds of damage that we saw that were a real issue for the wineries, starting with catwalks that were no longer supported and only just barely hanging in there. So that created a health and safety risk for people, and also the inability to access and carry out their operations. And in some cases, the damage to the tanks led to actual loss of valuable product. A year's work literally running down the drain. And when you're talking 250,000 litres of wine, that's a huge value of product. If the tank's damaged, then also they can't use it. So going forward, they can't make the wine again. They're not able to supply to the market, puts them at risk of actually disappearing out of the marketplace, because they've got that one window each year where they need to produce their product and get it out the door. And if that gets disrupted because of poor design in the winery, then that's going to be catastrophic for the business. Leading up to the 2013 and 2016 earthquakes, we were aware of some of the risks around the design of tanks at the time, and we're working in the background to try to improve the way the tanks were designed and the way they were anchored to the foundations. The 2013 earthquake accelerated that innovation process, where we released early versions of what we called the on-guard anchor. And then when the 2016 earthquake hit, we literally had cases where some of our anchors were installed in wineries. Those tanks were largely undamaged, and right beside them you had older style tanks that had literally fallen over. So the on-guard anchoring system is genuinely innovative and a world leader. On a more day-to-day basis, it's the simple things like the way that the catwalks that get access to the tanks are constructed, trying to make them so they can slide between tanks rather than be torn apart by the tanks in an earthquake. Can we take some of the services and bring them down to a lower level? It might be putting over a roof over that main working area, so the guys have got some protection from stuff that's above them and also from the elements. A lot of little wins everywhere turn out to make a great facility, one that's really robust, and occasionally we get one that's actually got legs to really go international, like the on-guard anchor. There seems to be this weird correlation around the world between wine and earthquakes. You look at Chile, Italy, California and New Zealand, and to some extent South Africa as well. All seismically active areas, but also areas renowned for their winemaking. So off the back of On Guard paving the way into the States, we've been able to piggyback into that somewhat, and have worked on a couple of wineries over there, and we could see us doing that again in the future.